The hold that Meghan Markle and Nicola Peltz have over the royal family and the Beckham family respectively is the love that these two families feel for Harry and Brooklyn, and they hold it over as a sword that's about to fall at any time, and they know that they can always count on them to bail them out and to always be there for them, and that out of desperation they will do whatever it takes to keep them happy. And in order to remove that power, they have to let them hit rock bottom and completely disassociate themselves from these two family members, turn their backs on them in the most possible public way.
I am required to ask anyone present who knows a reason why these persons may not lawfully marry to declare it now.
Anwar Hadid. And you're probably asking, Paula, who the hell is Anwar Hadid? Well, stick around and you'll find out. And you'll learn why Rachel Meghan Markle and Nicola Peltz, married to Brooklyn Beckham, should come with a warning label. They serve as a cautionary tale of how two narcissistic, frustrated, bitter women turned the love of the men they managed to catch into one of the most destructive weapons against their own families. And at this point, the best that the families can do, cut them loose. Cut them loose. We're going to get into this because it's actually quite a disturbing story, quite an awful pattern, and we're going to see how this can be broken and how their destructive power can be neutralized.
I mean, H, that man loves me so much.
Thank you very much for coming to the channel. My name is Paula M. I am a former diplomat for 14 years, and now I am a YouTuber. I want to say thank you for your super chats and your PayPal donations. And please don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe, and hype the video if you can. Well, today we're going to talk about Anwar Hadid. And I know as I said at the beginning of the video, you're probably wondering, who the hell is Anwar Hadid? You've never heard of him. Well, I'm sure you have heard of the Hadid sisters, the supermodels. One of them, I think, was dating Bradley Cooper, the Oscar winner, famous A-list actor. They're both ultra A-list supermodels. They're friends with the Kardashians, with Kendall Jenner. I think she's the supermodel. And they're featured regularly on the front of every magazine. So here comes Nicola Peltz. Nicola Peltz is a nepo daughter of a billionaire. She has zero talents. She has had a little bit of plastic surgery to enhance her looks, but she has no talents. The only talent she has is that her father is a billionaire. And here comes idiot Brooklyn Beckham. Let's not kid around. If this was a man flipping hot dogs somewhere in the United States without the last name Beckham, Nicola Peltz would have never given him a glance. Anwar Hadid is the brother of the sisters, as I said at the beginning. And he was 18 years old when Nicola Peltz started dating him. He was literally a teen, a legal one, but still a very immature teen. She was 22 years old. As you can imagine, Yolanda Hadid was not happy about this. And just like with Brooklyn, she managed to get Anwar completely cut off from the entire family. Clearly, the family was not happy because they had always been extremely close. Luckily, the mother and the sisters, prevailed, and he ended up breaking up the relationship because all that Nicola Peltz wanted to be was famous. And she was using Anwar in order to be sprinkled with the fairy dust of the Hadid sisters and their connections. All she wanted was fame, until the family said, we've seen enough. We're just tired. We know what you're doing, woman. We know it. So luckily, Anwar escaped. Brooklyn was not that lucky. By then, Nicola had refined her technique, her predatory technique. And she managed to trick Victoria for a little while, and the Beckham family into thinking that she was a sweet girl. Now, she married Brooklyn, and now things got so bad that this man, who was once very close to his family, ended up sending them a legal notice never to contact them again. When all that, whatever the flaws are of Victoria Beckham and David Beckham, or whatever it's going on in their marriage, for all intents and purposes, they have been incredibly good parents and a, tight-knit family, to the point that Victoria Beckham and David Beckham were supporting them in their social media efforts to become, stars or whatever in their own right. But Brooklyn, God bless his soul, this man has literally zero talents. He tried to be a chef, clearly failed because he's not a chef. He doesn't know how to do it. He's not talented in any way, and no, this is no shade to Lady Beckham or David Beckham, because David, he was a captain of the football team in the UK, and Victoria Beckham is a fucking Spice Girl. They were icons. Say what you will, but we're talking a Spice Girl here. So they have their own, they literally struggled, they created their own careers, they were brought up from the ground up. Now you have these Nepo idiots. Nicola Peltz, Brooklyn Beckham, Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, we know what she's done. This is a woman who managed to trap a prince who's an idiot.
And every family is complex as well. So, no, look, she's done an absolutely amazing job. Just getting in there, and it's the family that I suppose she's never had.
Okay. I just want to make something very, very clear. Neither Nicola nor Meghan would have been able to marry either of these men if these men didn't have a grudge to begin with against their own families. There must have been something in there that Nicola and Meghan managed to hone in and inflate that resentment. We saw it with Harry's book, Spare. So they must have seen something. So they have that instinct to hone in and see that those men are weak-minded. They're not bright. There's some sort of resentment or grudge. They're not well mentally. They're weak and they're entitled. That is a deadly combination, especially for the families on the receiving end. I can tell you that right now, Lady Beckham, the entire Beckham family is going through suffering because all of them are trying to please one member of the family who's being incredibly hateful. That takes a lot of energy. The easiest thing to do would be to cut him off completely. Say, you don't want us to see you? And I know it's hard to do, but at some point, you have to think of the entire family. The good of the one does not outweigh the good of the many. And I'm sorry I'm being very Vulcan about it, but it's the truth. Because it's exhausting that everybody is gripped by an emotional blackmail of Brooklyn Beckham. People are trying to cater to, oh, poor Beckham. He's so frail mentally. No, he's an entitled idiot. And the same thing goes for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle and Nicola Peltz, they both know that the biggest weapon they have against the families is the families themselves, because the families don't want to pull the trigger and cut the umbilical cord. They know that as long as they hold on to those two men, the families are not following healthy advice. At least Meghan Markle has one up over Nicola Peltz. And at least Harry has one up over Brooklyn Beckham. Because Brooklyn Beckham is an idiot. He doesn't understand that he has no qualities whatsoever. And right now, by cutting off his family, he's basically at the mercy of his wife's family. This woman is going to get fed up with this guy. Why did she take his name? And a lot of people have said, well, she's a billionaire. She didn't need Brooklyn. Yes, she did. Because you see, even marrying Brooklyn Beckham, right now she's in the news. She's creating news and drama because she wants to remain in the news. She wants to be front page everywhere. And she doesn't care if that means hurting his family. Why and who leaked the news that legal notice had been served? Once you have an answer for that, you will understand what kind of person you're dealing with. Just like Meghan Markle leaks all these news to the press, you're bombarded with at least 6 or 7 articles about Meghan Markle. She's coming to the UK. She's not coming to the UK. Harry's coming to the UK. Harry's getting security. Harry's extending an olive branch. All these articles because Meghan Markle is desperate to remain in the news. It's exhausting. The entire royal family is still catering to Meghan Markle because they don't want to, oh, poor little Harry, cut the umbilical cord. The way to completely cut the power that Meghan Markle and Nicola Peltz hold over these families is by removing them completely from their environment. This case, King Charles will have to remove Harry and Meghan from the British monarchy website. He will have to remove titles so they can lead independent lives. That way they will have no power and Harry will have a message. You know how sometimes you have to practice tough love? This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with right now because the well-being of the entire family, Princess Catherine with cancer, the king with cancer, everybody, fed up, waiting for the next hit. And the same thing with the Beckhams. Because make no mistake that it was Nicola Peltz who wanted the world to know that Brooklyn Beckham sent his parents a legal notice because he doesn't want any contact with them. Why else would they do that? Because I don't see Lady Beckham leaking those kinds of news. That's actually quite embarrassing. So those are the kind of women that we're dealing with. Meghan Markle and Nicola Peltz want to completely isolate their prey. They want to completely destroy their families because they're angry that they're not the star. And Nicola Peltz is going, kudos to her, because when Brooklyn Beckham, now that he's told his family and he's become one of the most hated people in the world, because he's an idiot, he's an entitled Nepo idiot, he has no one. No one. Would you want to be friends with Brooklyn Beckham? Because clearly he's not loyal. He's not family oriented. And you know what the worst part is? That if he did that to his parents, he can do that to anybody. He can do that to anybody. And this is a very dangerous sign that we have to look out for. What do you guys think? I think that Meghan Markle and Nicola Peltz are both predators of the worst kind. And the problem is that the families have seen the warning signs and they did nothing. When they could have done something, they did nothing. And now they're paying the consequences of Meghan and Nicola's narcissism. All families are destroyed except Nicola Peltz's family. But this is not going to bode well for Nicola Peltz's family. And this doesn't bode well for Meghan Markle or Harry. This is why their brand is shit. This is why their brand is toxic. Because they're absolutely spiteful people. And it shows. Nicola cannot love Brooklyn when she's creating all this chaos, all this hate between him and his family. Because somebody who loves you is never going to ask you to give up your family. Never. Ever. Somebody who loves you is never going to ask you to give up what you love the most or what's part of you. You will try to combine everything and come together as a family. Brooklyn has cut off everybody. He says he's reaching out to his grandparents as though it's a big deal that his grandparents can talk to him. I would stop him from reaching out to his grandparents. And he should get a message that you don't want your parents, you're cut off entirely from the Beckham side and Victoria's side of the family until he comes to his senses. And the same thing for Harry. Now Harry wants the king to come and open Invictus. That is a completely grifting organization who's going to be embroiled in a huge scandal pretty soon, Invictus. Because now he's putting it out. Oh, this is an olive branch. I want my father to come and open the Invictus games with me. Why? Why? Because he's not doing it out of love. He's doing it because he wants the cachet of having open Invictus with the king, because that will increase his stock. This is where I say again that it's time to cut the umbilical cord. It's time for the king to remove Harry and his skanky wife from the British monarchy's website and to completely remove all of Harry's titles. Because now we know, it's been confirmed and proven that all it takes is a letter's patent. And it's time to start looking out for the entire family and not just one member. What's it going to take? What it's going to take? Let me know what you think, beautiful people, and have a happy Saturday.